What's up, everyone? I always hear about these breweries using weird ingredients to make their beer as hazy as possible. So I thought I'd do a little experiment. I went out and got a whole bunch of different ingredients that I heard about on the internet. Weighed out 2 ounces of each, added them to a quart of water, filtered them, mixed them, and then filtered it through a hop spider, and then threw them all in the jars. So what I'm going to do is mix them up, come back a week, come back 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and we'll see which one holds up the best. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and mix them all up. You can hear the pressure in some of these, so I'm just going to relieve the pressure. Okay, I'll just zoom up a little bit so you can see. So here, applesauce, flake barley. Grits I grabbed for the hell of it. I never heard of anybody using it. We all know about flour. I don't know if wheat flour would be different. I just grabbed the white. Flaked oats. Flaked rye, and last, flaked wheat. I'll just zoom in a little bit more. So you can see they all got a little different tint to them. Alright. There we go. So I'll put these away for a week. I'll just sit them on the floor so they don't get mixed up. And we'll come back. There were two things I noticed when I set the jars back up. One was how much everything compacted on the bottom instead of staying suspended. And the other big one was the color difference, which caught me off guard. So what I'll do is I'll zoom into each one so we can get a better look. Okay, so the applesauce has a nice tint to it. And I don't see much settled on the bottom. Now the flake barley, that's the one that I really thought would have stayed suspended. But that compacted pretty good. And it also cleared up pretty good. The grits, I kind of expected not to do much, but it actually has a light tint to it, so that was a surprise. The flour has a nice haze to it, and it compacted like I expected. The flaked oats, that compacted, and it also has a nice golden tint to it. And I wonder if that helps the color when you do the NE IPAs, because I didn't expect that. I'll actually zoom in a little bit so you can see that. So I imagine that helps get the golden color. Okay. Now the other big surprise was the flaked rye, as you could see. Compacted nice, but it also looks like it oxidized. which was kind of shocking. I don't know what's going on there. I have no clue. Maybe it's ferment, who knows. Maybe it got some wild yeast in it. I thought that was very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see it in 2 weeks. And on the end we got the flaked wheat. That has a nice little tint to it. I thought it would have added more. And it also compacted. So even though a lot of these compacted, most of them seem to leave a nice little tint. And different colors, which was shocking. Which will help you do a beer recipe. So I thought it was very interesting. I can't wait for week 2 and 3 and 4 just to see what happens. Alright, we'll come back in 7 days. We are at week 3. I haven't noticed too much of a change. I did notice on the flake barley and the flake rye how much liquid they absorbed. So if you're using any of these, you might want to step your batch size up a little bit. And the flake rye, I can't tell if it got darker. It's kind of hard to tell. But I think they're all pretty much the same as we had as week 2. Now we have a rare day here in the Northeast because the sun came out. So I'm going to pull this off. And I'm going to zoom in and we'll get a closer look. So I'll just scan over like we did last time. Get your applesauce, flake barley, your grits, the flour, flaked oats, flaked rye, and the flaked wheat. So with the sun in the background, this is more consistent if you clear your beer or if you use gelatin. But it definitely looks like things are cleaning up, or clearing up. As you can see, the flake oat still has the yellow tint to it. So that's a surprise. It didn't change at all. And except for the flake rye, all the other ones look like they're clearing up. Which still surprises me. I expected the flake barley to stay more suspended, but it didn't. And the applesauce looks like it actually works really good, so I can see why a lot of breweries use it. Alright, we'll come back to week 4 and we'll see if anything changes. Okay, we finally made it to the end of week 4. I was taking a look at all of them and they look like they cleared up and it looks like they compacted more. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in, we'll take a look at each one again, see any difference. Okay, so the applesauce still has a nice tint to it. It actually held up pretty good the whole time. I could see why a lot of people use it. So I'm going to have to try that one day. Now when you use applesauce, you want to try to get a brand with no preservatives. So I'll show you the one that I use for this experiment. Now as you can see, it's got ascorbic acid. That helps with keeping oxygen out, which is why it says added to maintain color. If you slice up apples and you add ascorbic acid, they won't turn brown. So without the ascorbic acid in this, it would turn brown. Okay? So try to use a natural applesauce. Alright, the flake barley That actually cleared up more than I thought. And it compacted pretty good on the bottom. So I would definitely increase your batch when using it. It looks like it absorbed a lot more water. Now I didn't grind these up, I just threw them into a mixer. So I don't know if you grind them up if it'll make a difference. But it still has a nice tint to it. Nice light tint. The grits, I expected that to look like water. So that was a surprise that it actually has a slight haze to it. The flour, which I'm surprised they actually use. I guess as long as it has no flavor, it's going to work. Because that's held up pretty good. Has a nice light haze to it. The oats definitely absorbed a lot more liquid. Compacted pretty good. And it still has that golden haze to it. So I would definitely increase the batch again if you're going to use those. The flaked rye, I'll show you in a minute, it actually cleared up more than from week 3. So that was a surprise. And it looks like it absorbed more water. And on the end we got the flake wheat. That still has a nice haze to it. I actually expected more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a LED light behind all of them and then we'll scan back over. So we'll look at these 3 first. Alright, the flake wheat, you can see how it cleared up pretty good. I always thought that would be a lot more hazier. The rye, you can see how that cleared up a lot more. The flaked oats, yeah, it has a nice golden color to it. And that cleared up. A little bit more. Scan over. Go behind the flour. Yep, has a slight haze to it. The grits has a slight haze, a light haze. Flake barley, look how much that cleared up. Boy, I did not expect that. And the applesauce. It has a nice light haze to it. Probably from the pectin. So, what did I learn? Well, they will all create haze. Of course, if you use a lot more, some of them will create more haze. I also learned some of them are not as hazy as I always thought, especially the flake barley. So basically, except for the grits, I would definitely use all of them for a slight haze. I would increase the amounts, increase the batch size when using some of them. But they all work. So it's kind of a surprise. I expected then some of them to just clear right up. So if you have any more, if you know of any more adjuncts that they use, let me know. I'll have to try them out, see what works. Alright, I hope you enjoyed.